Oh, hello there. Yes, well, it is decidedly midweek and I am decidedly in need of an Easter holiday. Yes, even though, of course, Easter has been cancelled. Damn you, leftists. Anyway, yesterday was one of those days whereby, Jesus, the right-wing media were full on in total and utter nasty hypocrisy mode. Probably the main one, which I'm sure you're aware of, is everyone's favourite 80s throwback, insert Poundland ... joke here, but Charlie Mullins. Labour threatened to take my OBE, says Reform donor Charlie Mullins. Yes, it's important that he's a Reform donor. It shows you how vindictive they can be. But the problem, of course, with this story is that, number one, it dates back quite a long way, and number two, he was sort of forced to make various large-scale apologies, including legal people, because of appalling things that he tweeted. We did say, in the later editions of the Telegraph, for example, as here, they've actually decided to put things in, rather than saying he made controversial statements. Oh, really? What did he say? Stuff that was just stuff. Yeah, they've actually, in the later editions, actually updated it. So we end up with the notion that he tweeted that somebody should kill Sadiq Khan simply because he's introduced anti-pollution measures, which I think we all agree is definitely death penalty stuff. Actually printing out one of his tweets, which is, "You are so right, Khan should be in prison. He's the equivalent to a spy. Will not be long before Muslims have their own police force." Yes, indeed. And I think if you peer at it for a long period of time, you might just see what the problem there is. Or indeed, they cited a misogynistic comment made about the left-wing media personality Cara Vorderman. Yes, she's a left-wing media personality now. I would have thought she was just a personality in her own right who was famous for building up a huge media career, but apparently not. Now she's a bad person, yes, for having her out. Yes, not really quite sure what that is. I'm sure you do, though, which Mr. Mullins made during an appearance on GB News, as well as accusations he made a racist joke at the British Curry Awards. Now, I'm sure that all of you are fully in agreement that he represents everything that we should be proud about the Britain and the Empire and everything else, yeah? Racist, sexist and petty-minded as he is, and indeed the cherry on the cake, living abroad but still telling us what we should do. There's a lot of it about. Yes, anyway, moving on to my own particular sphere of not really knowing anything, like I don't about education, there's been an ongoing story whereby some poor school have decided, the head teacher has decided to not hold an Easter service, which means that everybody on GB News primarily, but elsewhere, are melting down about this. So we've had this one, gobsmacked, Easter cancelled for school DEI drive, leaving Ben gobsmacked. Yes, Ben is obviously gobsmacked at everything that he feels he should be, that he's paid for. And we also had various female talking heads, what's left of British heritage, school cancels Easter service to respect diversity. Yes, very, very bad news. But the thing that got me about that, of course, is there are loads of schools out there which are run by brilliant people that we must look up to, like the Michaela School, yes, led by Miss Snuffy or herself, or Sniffy or whatever she is on Twitter, Catherine Bersinger, who proudly boasts that she doesn't have any religion in her school. So is that okay? Or is that her being anti-British? See, I get slightly confused because there do appear to be a number of different things here. Because, of course, she must be allowed to do that because it's important that schools do their own thing, which neatly leads me on to hypocrisy number 3, which really shouted at me whilst I was, oh dear God, waiting for my pupils to turn up in lessons yesterday, which is this one, school curriculum. The dreaded, single inverted commas, designed to install racist notion of British identity. Oh my God, that's appalling, isn't it? Teaching union, not the government, but the teaching union, accused of waging war on white Britishness. Oh dear God, they're the victims again, with claim that lessons are based on narrow government-imposed dogma. Yes, which is a story of what the government isn't necessarily going to do, and a teaching union having an opinion on it. I mean, it's awful, isn't it? Imagine teachers having an opinion on their job compared to, real experts like the guys at GB News, like Leo, after all. But you notice that with this story, if you actually link down below, you can read it for yourself. But with this story, there's this idea that schools shouldn't be allowed to teach exactly what they want, like Catherine Bursing thinks is a really good idea. Oh, what is it? Well, they have to do the right thing, and they have to be suitably right-wing, otherwise we don't really want to know. But the people that they've asked about this, and there's two of them, there's bloke from Tufton Street Policy Unit, whatever, who cares, but there's also Chris McGovern from the Campaign for Real Education, who gets dragged out for these kind of stories because I think he sits in his mum's bedroom. It's just him, and he's the entire Campaign for Real Education, right? Okay, and let's say it's actually worthwhile unpicking this, okay? Chris McGovern, the chairman of the Campaign for Real Education, who advised Mr. Gove on the National Curriculum for History. Bear that in mind. That was back in 2010, by the way, which is the curriculum we've still got now, okay, said the current national curriculum does not require the teaching of any specific historical figure or event, not even the World Wars or Churchill. Now, right, okay. Initially, you might think, oh, well, if I'll go and look up the national curriculum, then you can do. And yes, it doesn't statutorily require that. But what I would say to Chris, with his enormous level of knowledge, or indeed anyone at GB News, is I would like you to point me to a school in the UK that doesn't teach the World Wars and Churchill, because I guarantee you won't find one. And if Chris has been an advisor to Mr. Gove, who did pretty much on his own redesign the national curriculum, how come he hasn't been bitching about this for the last 15 years? Bit strange, isn't it? Yes. And indeed, if he was an advisor and he didn't get what he wanted, is he A, useless, or B, is it that he did in fact design this particular national curriculum and it is a bit useless and he's only woken up after 15 years? So many questions that aren't going to be asked. But Jesus, yeah, you can see the level of utter absurdity that this is, in the sense that there are very, very strictly rules for certain groups of people and not for others. I mean, are we really that stupid to put up with this stuff? And the answer has to be yes. And I personally, of course, blame the teachers. Anyway, do have a glorious midweek. Dear God, please send me evenings and weekends. Oh.